Nathan said to David, Thou art the man. Thus saith Yahweh the God of Israel, I anointed thee king over Israel, and I delivered thee out of the hand of Shaul, and I gave thee thy master's house, and thy master's women into thy bosom, and gave thee the house of Israel and of Yehudah. And if that had been too little, I would have added to thee such and such things. For what reason hast thou despised the word of Yahweh, to do that which is evil in his sight? Thou hast smitten Uriah the Hittite with the sword, and hast taken his woman to be thy woman, and hast slain him with the sword of the children of Ammon. Now therefore the sword shall never depart from thy house, because thou hast despised me, and hast taken the woman of Uriah the Hittite to be thy woman. Thus saith Yahweh, Behold, I will raise up evil against thee out of thy own house, and I will take thy women before thy eyes, and give them to thy neighbor, and he will lie with thy women in the sight of the sun. For thou didst it secretly, but I will do this thing before all Israel, and before the sun. And David said to Nathan, I have sinned against Yahweh. And Nathan said to David, Yahweh also hath put away thy sin. Thou shalt not die. Howbeit, because by this deed thou hast given great occasion to the enemies of Yahweh to blaspheme, the child also that is born to thee shall surely die. Of the books called Shemuel the second, chapter 13. And it was after this that Absalom the son of David had a fair sister, whose name was Tamar, and Amnon the son of David loved her. And Amnon was so vexed that he fell sick because of his sister Tamar, for she was a virgin, and it seemed hard to Amnon to do anything to her. But Amnon had a friend whose name was Jonadab, the son of Shammah, David's brother, and Jonadab was a very subtle man. And he said to him, Why, O son of the king, art thou thus lean from day to day? Wilt thou not tell me? And Amnon said to him, I love Tamar, my brother Absalom's sister. And Jehonadab said to him, Lay thee down on thy bed, and feign thyself sick, and when thy father cometh to see thee, say to him, Let my sister Tamar come, I pray thee, and give me bread to eat, and dress the food in my sight, that I may see it, and eat it from her hand. So Amnon lay down, and feigned himself sick, and when the king was come to see him, Amnon said to the king, Let my sister Tamar come, I pray thee, and make me a couple of cakes in my sight, that I may eat from her hand. Then David sent home to Tamar, saying, Go now to thy brother Amnon's house, and dress him food. So Tamar went to her brother Amnon's house, and he was laid down, and she took dough, and kneaded it, and made cakes in his sight, and did bake the cakes. And she took the pan, and poured them out before him. But he refused to eat. And Amnon said, Bring out every man from over me. And every man went out from over him. And Amnon said to Tamar, Bring the food into the chamber, that I may eat from thy hand. And Tamar took the cakes which she had made, and brought them into the chamber to Amnon her brother. And when she had brought them near to him to eat, he took hold of her, and said to her, Come, lie with me, my sister. And she answered him, Nay, my brother, do not humble me, for no such thing ought to be done in Israel. Do not thou this folly. And I, whither shall I carry my shame? And as for thee, thou wilt be as one of the fools in Israel. Now therefore I pray thee, speak to the king, for he will not withhold me from thee. Howbeit he would not hearken to her voice, but being stronger than she, he forced her, and lay with her. Then Amnon hated her with exceeding great hatred, for the hatred wherewith he hated her was greater than the love wherewith he had loved her. And Amnon said to her, Arise, be gone. And she said to him, Not so, because this great wrong in putting me forth is worse than the other that thou didst to me. But he would not hearken to her. Then he called his servant that served to him, and said, Put now this woman out from me, and bolt the door after her. And she had upon her a tunic of covering to palms and soles, for with such robes were the king's daughters that were virgins apparelled. Then his servant brought her out, and bolted the door after her. And Tamar put ashes on her head, and tore the tunic of covering to the palms and soles that was on her. And she laid her hand on her head, and went her way, crying aloud as she went. And Absalom her brother said to her, Hath Amnon thy brother been with thee? But now be thou still, my sister, he is thy brother. Take not this thing to heart. So Tamar remained desolate in her brother Absalom's house. But when King David heard of all these things, he was very wroth. And Absalom spoke to Amnon neither good nor bad, for Absalom hated Amnon, because he had forced his sister Tamar. And it was after 2 full years that Absalom had sheep shearers in Baal-Hathor, which is beside Ephraim. And Absalom invited all the king's sons. And Absalom came to the king and said, Behold now, thy servant hath sheep shearers. Let the king, I pray thee, and his servants go with thy servant. And the king said to Absalom, Nay, my son, let us not all go, lest we be burdensome to thee. And he pressed him, howbeit he would not go, but blessed him. Then said Absalom, If not, I pray thee, let my brother Amnon go with us. And the king said to him, Why should he go with thee? But Absalom pressed him, and he let Amnon and all the king's sons go with him. And Absalom commanded his servants, saying, Mark ye now, when Amnon's heart is merry with wine, and when I am saying to you, Smite Amnon, then kill him. Fear not, have not I commanded you? Be courageous and be valiant. And the servants of Absalom did to Amnon as Absalom had commanded. Then all the king's sons arose, and every man got him up upon his mule, and fled. And it was when they were in the way that the tidings came to David, saying, Absalom hath slain all the king's sons, and there is not one of them left. Then the king arose and tore his garments and lay on the earth, and all his servants stood by with their clothes torn. But Jonadab, the son of Shammah, David's brother, answered and said, Let not my lord suppose that they have killed all the young men, the king's sons, for Amnon only is dead. For by the appointment of Absalom this hath been determined from the day that he forced his sister Tamar. Now therefore let not my lord the king take the thing to his heart, to think that all the king's sons are dead, for Amnon only is dead. But Absalom fled, and the young man that kept the watch lifted up his eyes and looked, and behold, there came much people by the way of the hillside behind him. And Jonadab said to the king, Behold, the king's sons are come, as thy servant said, so it is. And it was, as soon as he had made an end of speaking, that, behold, the king's sons came, and lifted up their voice, and wept, and the king also, and all his servants wept very sore. But Absalom fled, and went to Ptolemy, the son of Ammihud, king of Geshur, and David mourned for his son every day. So Absalom fled, and went to Geshur, and was there 3 years. And the spirit of the king David ceased to go out to Absalom, though he was comforted concerning Amnon, seeing he was dead. Now Joab, the son of Zeruiah, perceived that the king's heart was toward Absalom.